everyone, today I'm going to be doing my Bout of Books read and wrap up. I am so sorry about the delay on my videos at the minute. Hopefully everything will be picked up by now by the time I post this one, so hopefully it's all good, but yeah, sorry about that. But anyway, today I'm going to be doing my wrap up of the Bout of Books 19 ReadAthon, which I absolutely love doing, and I am so proud of how much I read as well. So yeah, it was a really good reading week. So the first book I got read during the readathon was Matilda by Roald Dahl, and this is about a little girl called Matilda, obviously, and she is being born into a family that doesn't really appreciate her, but she actually ends up having magical powers. And when she starts school, these magical powers start coming into play a lot more, we start to see more of them, and Matilda's starting to get used to them as well and sort of discovering these powers for herself. Now when she's at school, she realises that although her teacher, her teacher for her class is so lovely and so caring, the head teacher is not like this at all. Miss Trunchbull is very horrible, really hates kids, so why she is the head teacher of school is beyond me, but she hates kids. So Matilda ends up sort of getting her own back on Miss Trunchbull for treating the children so badly by using her powers. So Miss Trunchbull doesn't really understand how Matilda's doing this, but that sort of happens anyway, and it was just absolutely brilliant. I have read this before, it's one of my favourite, if not my favourite Roald Dahl book, so I was really excited to read it, and I'm so glad I reread it. I can sort of relate to Matilda as well, and I do not mean in the brains department, because she is incredibly clever and I'm not, basically, but she loves to read and she loves to learn, and that's sort of what I'm like as well. I love to learn new things, and if I can learn new things from books, even better. I also love Miss Honey, Matilda's teacher. She is so caring and so lovely to the children, and you can just see how relaxed the children are when they're in her class, whereas obviously when Miss Trunchbull comes in, it's a completely different story. And now, although Miss Trunchbull is horrible, I can't help but love her. I really love her. And the same sort of thing for Matilda's parents as well. I really love reading about them, but they're so horrible. But I think it's because they're so stupid. I love reading about them. Oh, I love all the characters in this book. And I really love reading about all the mischief the kids get up to in school and how they sort of get their own back on Miss Trunchbull as well. It's just perfect. I love it. It was also really good to see the differences between the film and the book as well, because I love the film. Matilda is like my childhood film. I absolutely adore it. So to see the differences between the book and the film, and there was quite a few, it was really interesting to see. There's a scene in the film that isn't in the book at all, but when you watch the film, it seems like a really sort of important bit of the story. But actually, it's not really, because it's not in the book, and it didn't affect the story in the book at all. So yeah, I really love seeing those differences. I couldn't give this book any less than 5 out of 5 stars. I love this book, and it's perfect for people of all ages, really. It's obviously aimed at a younger audience, but anybody can read it. So yeah, 5 out of 5 stars for my first book of the readathon. The second book I read was Broken Soup by Jenny Valentine, and this I didn't really know much about at all, and it was a book that I have read before, but I couldn't remember anything about, so it was good to revisit it. And this is about a girl called Rowan, and Rowan is handed a negative photo off a stranger randomly when she's out and about, and she's adamant that this photo isn't hers, but the stranger is adamant it is. So just to basically shut the stranger up, she's like, right, okay, I'll take it. So she takes this photo anyway, and when she gets it developed more, she realises the photo is actually of her dead brother, and she really has no idea what's going on. I don't really want to say much else about the synopsis, because if you did want to read it, I obviously don't want to spoil it, and I don't want to sort of give you any more information, because I think it's best going into it like that. I loved Stroma, who was Rowan's little sister. Oh my god, she is such a funny little sister. I just thought she was hilarious, and I really loved reading about her. She was just so mischievous and so cheeky, and I just kind of wanted to give her a hug. I don't know why, but I did. And I also loved Harper as well, which was the stranger who gave the photo to Rowan. He was just such a lovely, genuine character, and someone I think has a lot of potential for character development, but as far as I'm aware, there's no sequel or anything to this. I really like the concept of the story, but I think it could have developed even more. I think it sort of stopped quite abruptly, but I did still enjoy it, and I don't think I would change that much about it other than just develop it a little bit more. And same kind of with the character development as well, because there was a lot of potential for that and I don't feel like we got that. And one thing I was really confused about, and this has never happened before, but I couldn't picture Rowan as a girl. And I don't know why. I could only picture Rowan as a boy, and I've never had that before. If anybody has had that before, please let me know, because I don't understand it. Like, Rowan was a girl. Like, she's a girl. That's all said in the book. But for some reason, I could only picture her as a boy. Don't know. So yeah, overall I did really like the story. I wouldn't say it was perfect, but I give it a 3 out of 5 stars. I just feel like it's a one I'm probably going to forget again. But yeah, it was an enjoyable read. And the next book I read was Easier Trop by Roald Dahl. I had a bit of a Roald Dahl like read and splurge during this readathon, so be prepared for that. But yeah, the next one was Easier Trot, and this is a super short book and it only took me like 20 minutes, so that was really good. And this is about a guy called Mr. Hoppy who lives in the flat above Mrs. Silver. And Mr. Hoppy adores Mrs. Silver, and it's so cute, and he just really loves her. But Mrs. Silver doesn't see this at all, and she's more interested in her little tortoise Alfie she's got. And Mr. Hoppy is really jealous of this because he wants the attention that Alfie gets. So one day anyway, Mr. Silver is talking to Mr. Hoppy and is wishing that Alfie would grow a bit quicker because he's such a tiny little tortoise and she really wants him to grow bigger. So Mr. Hoppy comes up with a plan anyway as to how he can kind of make this happen and Mrs. Silver fall in love with him at the same time. It is so cute. It is literally adorable. But it's a perfect book for bedtime reading, like to your children as well, because it's so short. It only took me 20 minutes to read, so it's perfect for that. And it's also really good for like putting on voices to entertain the children as well. I think it'd be really good to like act out. It's a really funny story, and the personalities of these characters are just absolutely hilarious. I loved reading about all of them, although I did think Mr. Hoppy was being a bit sly at some point. But it's just because he really loves Mrs. Silver, and that's really cute. And I loved Alfie the Tortoise, because who couldn't love Alfie the Tortoise? But I did think that the illustration sort of brought him alive a lot more because he wasn't really like described much, so the illustrations did really help with that. Overall I give this one 4 stars. It was just super cute and literally like 50 pages or so long, so reading didn't take me very long at all, and perfect for a readathon. And the next book was also a Roald Dahl book, and that was George's Marvellous Medicine, and this is one of my favourite Roald Dahl books as well. I love this book, and this is about George Cranky who lives with his mum, his dad and his grandma, and his grandma has to have medicine at certain times of the day. So George decides, when his parents are out the house one day, to make Grandma a new medicine, and this is because she is so grumpy and so nasty to George, and he thinks that this medicine is going to make her happy and nice and treat him lovely. So George gets to work on making this medicine, and he literally puts like everything into it that you can find in a house pretty much. I mean, he literally throws everything in. Now, instead of making Grandma nice, it has a lot of other effects on her, both physically and mentally, and it is absolutely hilarious. It is so funny. And what made it even funnier is when George's parents got home, the dad was just like, oh, this is amazing, we could make so much money out of this. He didn't tell him off at all, he just seen money potential and then tried to get George to make it again, which clearly he wasn't able to do because he didn't think about what he was putting in, he just sort of threw everything in. It was just too funny. I loved Grandma. Now, I know she's really horrible, but she's so funny and I couldn't help but love her. She's hilarious. If I can meet Grandma, I would meet Grandma. She is too funny. Although the plot of this is quite simple, the imagination that's been put into it is really good, and that sort of shows throughout any of Roald Dahl's books really. But this one specifically really stood out for me in imagination. This one and the BFG tend to be the two that stand out for me, like when it comes to imagination. And the detail sort of intertwined in this book as well was just really like slight but effective. Does that make sense? Like, I know what I mean. I'm not really explaining this very well. But yeah, it was just a really great book, and it's one of my favourite Roald Dahls again. And again, it's quite short. Roald Dahl's really good for that, so they're good for readathons. But it was great to revisit this story as well, and I give this one 4 out of 5 stars. And the final book I got finished, I did start one, which I will briefly mention in a minute, but the final book I got finished was, oh my god, you're not going to believe this, Breaking Dawn by Stephanie Meyer. Yes! I read it! I'm so excited. After about 6 months, I've read it. and I'm really glad I did, because I quite enjoyed this one. And I think I was put off a bit reading it because I didn't really enjoy Eclipse at all, whereas this one, the pace picked up a lot more. So if you don't know, somehow this is the 4th book in the Twilight series anyway. I'm not going to go into what this one sort of goes on to because of spoilers, but it was just much better than Eclipse. It had a lot more fast pace in it, and I never really got bored, and I thought the character development picked up again in this book. So, I mean, Alice is still my favourite character. I absolutely love Alice Cullen, but I found a new love for Emmett. I think he's hilarious, and I think he's so sarcastic, and when he's sort of joking on with Bella and sort of taking the mick out of it, I love that. He's too funny. I think the descriptions and locations were also like sort of described a lot better in this book than in Eclipse as well, because I think in Eclipse it was just really bland and sort of really on this level all the way through, whereas I think in this book, although we did get to this level sometimes, it did pick up a lot, and I'm really, really happy about that because I didn't expect it to. Bella still annoyed me so much, but I think she's always going to. I don't think that's going to change. I just find her so bland and so boring, and she's just got such little personality. I can't grow to like her, and yeah, that's really frustrating, but yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that'll agree with me on that one. She's just a bit of a bland character. Other than that though, I do think this was probably one of the better books of the series, and for that I am going to give it 3 stars. I'm not going to give it any more than that. I can't give it any more than that, but definitely a 3 stars. It's a good solid 3 stars for me. And the last book I started but I didn't get finished, so I'm only going to talk about this one really briefly, was If I Stay by Gail Forman. So I read 123 pages of this during the readathon, and what I read of that I was really happy with, I really enjoyed. If you don't know, this is about a girl called Maya, and she is in a car accident with her family, and this leaves her in a coma in hospital, and the story is sort of told by Maya's perspective, but her sort of out-of-body experience while she's in a coma. So although she's lying in hospital, she's also in the hospital, but nobody can see her obviously, sort of watching over herself and seeing what's happening in the hospital, who's coming to visit her, all that kind of stuff. It's a bit difficult to explain, but yeah, it's sort of an out-of-body experience, and we see it from that perspective, and I thought that was a really sort of strong element to the story. I did like the way it was told. But I will talk about this a lot more in my end of the month wrap up because I have finished it now, but I'm just going to talk about this briefly in this wrap up. I'm also not going to tell you the rating of this. I will tell you in the end of the month wrap up as well. So that was it for my Bout of Books wrap up. I am really happy with how I did. I ended up reading 5 full books and then like half of another book. So like 5.5 books during a week. I am so proud of that because I mean, I could barely read that in a month usually, so I did good. So that's it for today. If you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. All of my social media links are in the description below for you, and I will see you in my next video very soon. Bye!